Welcome, welcome everybody to this first Friday of the month, a gathering to look at our thoughts, feelings, and see what's here when we question our stories. So just really noticing everyone can do this. All the things that we object to. Maybe there's one specific thing that's really on your mind. Often there's a pile of things there. But just noticing that experience of, I don't like it. I wish this wasn't the way it was, the way it is. I feel despair about this. I feel anger about this, irritated. And I love this first thing about the work. One thing I love about the work is saying it's all right for that to be there, because it's there. I'm not trying to get away from it so hard. Maybe part of our minds or spirits are trying to get away from it. But just letting the feeling of objection, fear, that's a threat, be there if it is. Just notice if you take off the barrier, take off the lock that wants to keep out difficult feelings or difficult experience, or doesn't like that thing happened. That we're just letting it be present. This looks frightening. This looks intolerable. Really stormy, upsetting. And all those thoughts about it, I need to get rid of this. I'll be happy if this was different. What I'm looking at, I'd be happy if this was different. If this went away. I can find that myself. It would be such a relief if that changed. That person, that behavior that I do, my body, that condition, that circumstance. It'd be so much better if that wasn't happening, says the mind. It really looks like that's true. It's all right. That looks like the case. It looks like that's the case. But I love this first step of the work, is just that it's okay that that's there, because it's there. It's okay that it's there. And if you just notice whatever it is that you're objecting to that looks like, wow, really don't like that, just let that come in. See what wants to come up for inquiry today. Just see if something rises up to the top. I really didn't like that particular thing. And it doesn't matter if it's from the distant past or yesterday. So just see that and be quite vivid. And if you can't do it wrong and you can't pick the wrong thing, it's almost like I picture drawing a line, drawing a circle around that thing that looks like trouble. I just want to look at this one thing, this one situation. Even if it looks repetitive, that person does the same thing over and over, or that's looks like that's the way it is, and it's still that way. But I'm really looking at that one thing. I mean, I love noticing how the mind says that is causing me trouble. I really need to get rid of this. I need to figure this out. I need to make this stop. Which is very sweet, really. I don't know. The mind trying to come in with solutions. But let yourself just notice what that thing is that might rise to the top. I really see this as causing me a lot of trouble. And when we do the work, we're not saying it isn't causing you trouble. It's all right. There it is. So I'm upset because you just see what that simple headline is. What is causing upset? I'm upset as I look at this because it's all right if it sounds so simplistic or childish. And then we might see if it looks like a simple fact. I'm upset because I broke my leg. Well, it looks like I really did break my leg. Okay. What's upsetting about that? What meaning am I putting on it? What does that mean for me? When you look at that, what really feels like it is expressing that upset? It's all right to see, I want this to be different than it is. Those wonderful questions and prompts on the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. I want this to be, how would you fill that in? I want this to change. I want this to be like this other way. not the way it is. And if the way you hear it is like with a should, and let's just notice that thing that I'm looking at that really looks like a problem. What are my thoughts when I say I should or it shouldn't? I love those. I love shoulds and shouldn'ts. So revealing. So wonderful that our mind will just come up with it. All right. Yeah, and you can share in the chat if you want. Love that. Everything is welcome. Shares. He should have held space for a mother-daughter dance, and he didn't. He's been patient and truly wants to be well. He should be healthy again. I shouldn't be craving more. I love that one. Looking back, 2005, wonderful. Jacob, you're welcome. Total insight set my brain and body totally free of fear and anxiety and sorrow and all the things. Wonderful. Emily, she should not have abandoned me for her own child's needs. They should see the other side are people too. I'm afraid to go to the doctor. I shouldn't have texted him. She should understand and stop parenting my child. My boyfriend shouldn't let his fears about the situation run his life. I'd be better if my body was smaller. Yeah. Okay, so good. Just letting it all, I like thinking of it sometimes. It's just the cries of life and just seeing. So watching that come, thinking, who would like to do the work? Larry, all right. Let's bring you off mute. Okay.
Is it okay if I do it? I don't know if everybody's.
It is okay if you do it.
Okay. Some people on the call know my wife has cancer. And I've, with much delay, I've made an appointment to see a general practitioner for myself to look at my health. I haven't seen it, and I'm not aware of anything wrong, but I'm afraid to go to see the doctor.
Sure.
Because if he found something wrong with me, this would be devastating. How I'm right now, I'm Carol's, my wife's primary caretaker. If anything is wrong with me that needs treatment, how the hell would I possibly deal with that and with Carol? So I'm just afraid to go. I've got an appointment on Tuesday.
Okay. So I love that. This is a really good one. It will be devastating. I won't be able to deal with it. And some of you might see something that looks devastating now, and where you think, I can't deal with this. Can't handle it. Yeah, Cynthia, my body should keep working. Okay. So these are good ones to see, that imagining in the future, if this happened, it would be terrible, devastating. So that I like your thought. I don't even want to go to the doctor because I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to have this information come through. That's how much I don't want the experience. So I'm afraid. I'm afraid of something being wrong with my body. Okay. Sometimes I like taking this with sort of, because we're looking at something imagined in the future, and we watch how the mind is just terrified of it, but it has to be based on some kind of experience or noticing things in the world. I mean, how would I ever know that this was terrible unless I had images and pictures and people that I knew, or just I'm able to put together the pieces of what it might look like. So past, future, past, future. Okay. So kind of imagine a little bit that this, the worst case scenario, the worst that could happen here. You find out something's wrong, whatever wrong is. This is devastating. I need to be healthy.
I must be healthy. It's
Okay.
like a must.
Okay. Okay. So, everyone can follow along. I must be, and it's all right to do it with whatever you came up with. Like some of these others, I must stop doing the texting. I must, that should have, that should have been that other way. Just let it see. And you can also just listen. Just let Larry's voice, but you can come in, and if your mind works that way, and you can follow along and kind of keep looking at your own situation. Let yourself be worked. Let it question yourself. Just look at your situation, and it must be different than it is. Really would be so much better if it was different than it is. Okay. All right. So Larry, your body must be healthy. Is it true?
Yes.
Okay. Can you absolutely know it? Can you absolutely know that that's true? I mean, just see, it must be healthy. It must be healthy. Can you absolutely know that?
No, I can't absolutely know that. because I'm thinking, I mean, like right now, there are little things that are not perfect, and it's okay. My fear is that something will be found like cancer,
Mm-hmm.
heart problem, something that is not, go take vitamin D, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I can't absolutely know that it's true that I must be healthy, because again, there are parts that of me that are not, and I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to see. And I like bringing it in just to raise it up a notch. So look at these things that we might put in the box, not healthy, but they feel like handleable. They're small or something about them. I mean, if it's not too scary, you can imagine you find out something, you have cancer too. I mean, just because that's where the mind is going anyway. It's terrified of that. So just looking at that thing that says, oh my God, can't, like, yeah, wow, so frightening, that condition. What happens when you think it? I must be healthy. I must not get that. Not something that looks serious. How do you react when you believe that thought?
Well, I want to cancel the appointment for one thing. And I mean, I'm terrified. I just, like Carol went from fine to cancer. Um, it's terrifying to have to deal with that. I'm afraid. Uh, I mean, terrified covers a lot of ground. I just am.
Yeah. So you feel that feeling that we're calling terrified, just feel it. And I mean, just, what it's like. You don't have to be in it right now, but you feel it. And then notice the images that come, like something in your whole system is saying, this is terrifying. You see those images and the meaning. I mean, I remember getting a biopsy and then coming back. They put stitches in the biopsy, and then I had to come back to get the stitches out. And when I came back to get the stitches out, and the doctor said that she took the stitches out of my leg and then said, well, why don't you just get dressed and then we'll come back. I'll come back in and we'll talk about the results. That's all she said. And I had this huge adrenaline wave go through my system. And it was cancer. And it was almost without images. It was like a giant geyser of I'm terrified kind of a feeling. But then that started, I mean, it didn't stay at 10 out of 10. And I could start looking and seeing all the images. It looked like friends and family, and it looked like, pictures, and it looked like everything I had ever taken in about cancer. It all looked bad. And no wonder it was frightening. But it does feel like at first that there aren't images, or I don't know, but I could easily see it quickly. This is what it means. This is what it means. It means I'm going to die, basically. It means my survival is threatened here.
And I'm angry.
Yeah,
That's the reaction. I'm angry that,
good to
because
see.
that's the way I'm with Carol. I'm angry that, God, my life would be over. I have my life is over.
Oh,
My
yeah.
life is over. It's just going to be, my life now is one doctor's appointment after another until I die. That's it. And a gradual loss of energy, um, inability to enjoy anything, because behind, you know, I can be happy this second, and then what might come in is, you got cancer or whatever. I don't want to say the word. I'm so afraid. I have this belief that just saying it produces,
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
magical thinking. Just saying, talking about it is like making it happen. I can actually make it happen by talking about it. So just leave me alone, avoid the whole thing. That's when I said, I just don't even go to the appointment.
Yeah. Very, really just so good to see, like, that speedy strategy for the mind to just get me out of here. Let me get away from this. Don't even say it. Yeah.
I'm just so personally just so terrified of dying. I cannot.
Mm.
I can't get behind Katie. Life and death are the same. I just cannot
Yeah.
live that. Yet now, I think it'd be obviously peaceful, but
Somehow the journey to it is going to be terribly rough.
horrendous.
Yeah.
I had a friend who
Horrendous.
said, boy, I'm 75. And she said, after 70, it's all downhill. She told me this a number of years ago. This is still playing in my mind.
Yeah.
Looking for, oh my God, it's just because really, as I get older, I will have more and more loss of it. Anyway, I'm going on
Yes.
and on about
Yes.
this. I'm scared. I'm really
Yeah.
scared.
And we could say it looks like that's the case. It's like the broken leg, but then my thoughts about it's terrifying. There's something about the journey from towards the end that looks incredibly frightening. Looks terrible. See the images of people aging.
I cannot stay in the present moment. I mean, I've never been great at staying in the present moment, but if I really had something in the back of my mind, it'd be, as I said, I mean, it just would color everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Just chills. I've had that experience. Just the thought comes, ooh, almost chilling.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's so good. I mean, just to see, I can't stand it now when I'm thinking about all this and the feeling in the body. I can't stand it. I must be healthy. And you know what your version of healthy is. I must be that other way. Remain that way. Hold on to it.
Forever.
Forever. Right? Yes. Yes. Which looks like, it looks like it's not how reality works, but right, it's okay. It's just saying, I want to live. I want to survive. I want to survive forever. Okay. So, I mean, anyone else want to share what you notice when you're believing I must be whatever it is? This must be, what I'm looking at must be a certain way for me to be peaceful, for the absence of fear to be there. Yeah, Anne.
Yeah, yesterday I went to the doctor and she told me that I was pre-diabetic, which really shocked me. She said I had been teetering on the edge with my score, whatever it is. And but they changed the rules. They changed something so that now I'm within the percentage of being pre-diabetic. I'm not being very articulate about this, but you get the picture. And I thought, I have these thoughts. My body is betraying me,
Mm.
and this can't be happening to me. I mean, I don't eat sugar. I don't eat chocolate. I don't eat cake. I don't eat cookies. I mean, how much can I eliminate from my diet? I told her I ate granola in the morning. She said, oh, and you put honey on it? No honey. And I try to buy the granola that is has the least amount of sugar. So today at the grocery store, I bought granola that supposedly only has 1% of 1 gram of sugar in it. So I try to, when I have this thought, I shouldn't be pre-diabetic, I try to do everything I can to ensure that I'm not going to go further over the edge into being diabetic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you. Same. That's, yeah, just that it just is happening just for you yesterday, and the mind coming in and talking about the solutions and what you need to do and what will happen. And
also, though, a kind of a feeling of what the hell? I mean, how much more can I do about this?
Yes.
When I've basically cut sugar out of my life for years now. It's not just recently.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Okay. Yeah. I love you said the word betrayal. This is a betrayal.
And that's, if I could just say what Ann just said, that's what pisses me off about going to a doctor. They are going to find something wrong. That's their job. That's how I have it. I'm angry at them. Everybody's pre-diabetic until you get diabetes. Everybody's precancerous until you have, you know what I'm saying? It's like they've got this expensive equipment. They've got to pay for it. They're going to use it. And you've done it. It's all part of my reaction to doctors.
Which is great to see in there, something that gets, it's terrified. And also I love seeing that anger and like fiery feeling and resistance fits in there as a process of fear. I hate it. I'm going to fight it. Those people, that thing that happened, that other, I'm going to attack it. That just can be so strong in there. I'm so against it. It's betrayed me. I'm going to have revenge, maybe even. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I must be healthy. Look at all the stress around this. I must have it a certain way in the body. In this case, I must have it that way. And I can even think, my kid must do it differently. They must be differently than they're doing it. That's got to change. That person, even in that moment, that doesn't look so serious as this, or big, or like on the way to death, that still there's a thought about it, really would just be so much better if it was different than the way it is. Okay. Yeah. And like Robin's saying, lack of trust. I don't trust it. All right. So Larry, who would you be without the thought, without the belief, this body must be healthy? Can't find out. I don't want to find out anything, ailments, especially cancer. Just notice that, who would you be if you weren't able to think that thought or take that thought seriously? It's all right if the thought's there, but believe it. Who would you be? I mean, I like noticing we're not thinking these thoughts every second, they drop sometimes.
Yeah, the first word that comes to mind is curious.
Oh.
Kind of interesting to go and, well, what does the doctor have to say about these things? Just, and also I thought about this. I thought about being able, when a doctor says something to me, to be able to say, well, is that true?
Yeah.
You're pre-diabetic. Okay, is that true? you have high blood pressure. Is that true? What do you mean high blood? Not in an angry, confronting way, but just, well, is it true?
So
Like a
good.
doctor says Carol has cancer. Is it true? I look at her. If I didn't know the doctor had said she had cancer, I wouldn't know she has cancer.
Awesome.
So
And
I'd
the
really be curious. I'd see the doctor. When I was growing up as a kid, we had a doctor across the street. I loved the guy. And he was great. I want Marcus Welby, MD, who just, just they're partners. They're out for what's best for me, not to pay for their equipment or whatever
yeah,
thought I have about
yeah.
it, just, well, this is kind of interesting.
They're just sharing. I like the way you're seeing it. It's like they're just sharing from their perspective what they see. There's whatever they look through microscopes or take tests or blood is taken or whatever's going on, and it comes up and it has this name, and it doesn't mean the story that I'm putting on it. It's not personal. They're just sharing. Well, it looks like this. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's true. Sure doesn't mean the whole story is true. Everything that I'm putting on it. Yeah. Just one opinion or result or whatever. That's nice.
I'd be looking forward to going too,
Yeah.
instead
Yeah.
of dreading it or worried my body's betraying me, as Ann said, but just
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yes. Yes.
What's going to happen? What's he going to do, or she? Well, it's a he in
Yeah.
this case. What's he
Yeah.
going to do?
Yeah. So I love even and what's it going to be like to do this? It looks like the body is temporary, impermanent. So it's doing what it does, and it looks like it's bloomed, and the bloom is happening, and just like flowers, the petals fall off. And what if that's okay? We're not upset with the flower. You take the vase and change flowers. I mean, just a drop of that. Who would I be without the story? It's terrible when the body changes. It means something about me. If I didn't have that story, it means something about me and for me that's terrible. Who would I be without the thought?
I thought about what you said about that's another worksheet for me. I don't want impermanence.
Right. Yeah.
I've worked on this. I want certainty. Do I really want certain,
Yes. Yeah.
impermanence triggers something for me.
Yeah. Just noticing how sweet that is, that thought and the mind comes up with, I want permanence. I want certainty. I want guarantees. I don't like impermanence. And just for a moment, relaxing with noticing the contents of life just are constantly moving through, like there's constantly something moving. Yeah, just got this thought of metaphor, like if you're on a train and you just get to look out the window and it's beautiful, you're not wishing, I wish this train would just stop and stay right here and never go anywhere. You're actually kind of happy with you want to see all the sights and just that feeling. Who would I be without my story? This needs to stay the same. And the great question, is there anything permanent here? Yeah, Anne.
As you were talking about this and doctors' diagnoses, and Larry, you were saying how doctors don't always seem to have our interests at heart because they have a lot of other dynamics going on. I was thinking that there are stories of people who have had diagnoses and have just not accepted the doctor's diagnoses, and have, through faith or other kind of healing modalities, have healed themselves. Even there's a book by somebody who had Parkinson's, who healed himself of Parkinson's, and for long enough so that, you know, he was, it was a remarkable thing. So I don't know, without my story, that I'm doomed and my body is going to crumble and I'm going to be miserable for, you know, until I die. I am more likely to look to, well, I was going to say faith, but really what I mean is energy, you know, like to energy that can heal, and I don't feel the victim anymore, and I'm grateful for all the little things that life presents us, you know, that we overlook all the time, that I overlook all the time. So actually, without the thought, maybe I would just be more slowed down and you know, more humbled. I think my health sometimes makes me feel like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and it's not always, it's often egocentric kind of thinking. So anyway, I'm
Yeah. And wouldn't that be the nature of it, that it gets very personal, whatever ego is, just like very, you know, in this situation, I must be safe and I need to just, of course, the mind, at least it seems like, would be talking about that and wanting the personal to survive. But who would I be without the thought, I need to survive? This body is who I am. Are you sure? And it doesn't mean, I mean, I just see, how could I don't know. I don't know.
That's really an interesting challenge to look at. I personally need to survive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Who would I be without that thought? And it doesn't mean there isn't some mechanism of the mind, like it's, if these thoughts are friendly, you know, just, well, it's maybe friendly is a little, it's a little, it doesn't quite fit, but they're there doing what they do for survival purposes, or, you know, it's just a mechanism in place, but doesn't mean they're all true. They're just neutral energy, you know, turning into nothing. Who would I be without the thought? Without the thought. And that thought. And without that thought.
And unafraid. I don't know if I mentioned that as who I'd be without the thought. I'd be just, I might even be excited.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, wonder my blood pressure, you know.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Might.
That's very sweet, really. Yeah. Okay. So even potentially a little excitement in there. And if anybody's looking at something that looks like, oh my God, that is not exciting or whatever, I still don't like that happened. You know, it was relaxing around that image. It's in the past and it's an image. Can hold respect for it, but it doesn't mean it's true. And, something might be bubbling in there that where I know, well, just something comes if I'm not struggling with wanting it so badly to be different. Maybe something just relaxes. You never know. Other possibilities might come when we're relaxed. It might be just to be quiet, rest. Might be to speak up and say, oh, when that thing happened, I noticed I had a reaction and I wanted this. You never know. Just what would love do? What would kindness? How would kindness be for yourself? So, okay, let's turn it around. All right. So, Larry, let's turn it around.
Well, I'm not afraid of going to the doctor.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Awesome. And I must be healthy. How about, I love just the simple opposite for this one. I don't have to be healthy. I don't need to be healthy. It's not required. Whatever this thing is that's called healthy.
That's what I thought of. What is health?
Yeah.
I don't have to be. I mean, what am I defining health as? Perfection?
What if healthy is like a healthy flower blooms and then the petals start turning brown and they fall off and then everything moves on to whatever it's composting into the next thing. That's healthy, right? If we say like that food that just remains preserved forever and doesn't start to rot, we're like, oh, that's something wrong with that. But anyway, just what if, we really don't know. And we'll say, just amazing that we don't really know. We're just looking at it, something balanced here. Makes sense that there's an arc of life. So the body's doing whatever it needs to do. Yeah, this thing called healthy. It looks safer than unhealthy. Or what if my ideas about those two things, safety, lack of safety, are not even true? Don't even know.
I also thought of the doctor is my friend. He's out for my best interests.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm giving him evil intent.
Yes. Right.
Already, like he's got to pay for his MRI machine or something. Well, no.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's could be just as true that, he went into this profession and doing the best he can, seeing people. Yeah. And everybody, no matter what you're looking at too, like even yourself, if you had I know some people they're looking at their own behavior. What if it's totally okay, whatever happened there and whatever you did, it was just mind coming in and that's all right. Can't do it wrong. So I don't need to be healthy. I mustn't be healthy. I must be healthy. I must not be healthy.
Could I possibly be okay either way? I mean, that I'm asking as a question because that is a turnaround. I'm okay either way is so turnaround.
So turnaround. Yes.
It's so unfamiliar. I really have to look at that.
Yeah. Well, don't you love seeing how it's going? Like, wait a minute, I'm sure that whatever I'm looking at, the thing that I'm staring at, if that changed, I really would feel better. We all know what that feels like. oh yeah, the thing changes and oh, good news. But what if the thing didn't need to do anything out there? Like, what if the circumstance is not what I'm depending on to feel happy? What if that's the case? That does feel exciting to me. What if the thing that appears to be outside of me does not have to change for me to be happy?
I mean, isn't that why I'm doing the work in general?
Yes.
You know, in life, if I could be, the circumstances of my life are not dictating who I'm going to be or who I am or how I feel or what's, you know,
Yeah.
heaven. That would be heaven.
Yeah. And what if that's actually happening and you just don't realize it because the mind is very loud? Like, there is some part of you, maybe much bigger than you think, that's actually steadily there no matter what's happening. Whatever, beats your heart and pumps the blood and is living you, and all the amazing things that happen every day just underway. Okay. I also like the turnaround. My mind must be healthy. And that doesn't mean I need to fix it. Like, oh, my mind is unhealthy. Let's get to work on that, because that's another project. But just seeing my mind is, very oriented towards defending itself or rejecting that thing over there. And so whatever health is for me, which is, I love that you were saying, I don't actually know. What is health? Yeah, if I don't have a tug of war going in my mind, could it be?
That is just a great exploration. What is this thing I'm saying I must have? What is that? That's really
Yeah,
hadn't occurred to me in that way.
yeah. And is it, is this thing that I'm saying I must have, my mind might even be yelling about that I have to have, what if it's, this sense of peace or something? What if it's available to me? And it doesn't mean I'm blind, or I might feel kind of blind, but there's just a lot of resilience and health and creativity and things that are just right, that are happening already within. But yeah, to the mind, I get it. Like, what is health? It's funny. Doesn't even know for sure. Yeah. Any other turnarounds I see? I must be healthy. I just like, if this makes sense to you, it's not really a complete sense, but health must be me. Maybe healthy must be what I am, who I am.
Is that a turnaround or more of a demand? You're seeing that as a turnaround, Grace?
Just as a turnaround, yeah. So just
How so?
try.
Can you say more about that?
Well, I just like sometimes flipping, just going with the simple turnaround idea. So I must be healthy and healthy. So which we're not sure who's talking, right? It's the mind. or whatever, it's just thoughts, but I, the body, must be healthy. And healthy must be me. And it's just asking, well, could that be the case?
In other words, you're saying, I am healthy. In other
Yeah.
words,
Yeah. Yes.
if I say health, well, that must be who I am. That's what you're saying. I
Yeah.
didn't hear it that way initially. That's really good. I heard it as another demand.
Yeah, no.
Healthy must be me.
No. Oh, yeah, yeah, I got it. Yeah, no. Must be who I am. And it doesn't mean there aren't diagnoses or things that are happening, or I'm, I don't see it as I'm in my last third of life or something, because it looks like that's the case. It's okay. The body is, at least, but who is I that we're talking about? And so that just that there's something healthy about that. It's having its experience. And even in the moment where that cancer diagnosis was there, could there be something healthy about that? Like it was just, I don't know, just the whole universe doing whatever it does with biology and all of it, and it kind of shows up like that, and then the next thing happens, and I don't know, everything that I imagined when that happened did not come true at all. None of it. That was what was amazing. Not one thing. Reality was friendlier than I was imagining it to be. So yeah, I see it like that. Like I love that you said the word demand, because then you kind of see, like, in the original thought, I have this demand, I must be. And just to, like, relax on, maybe the thing I'm wanting is already present, and just less fear there. Well, let's see if any feedback. Anyone have anything to share? Did you follow along? Did you look at your own situation and find something there, as you just let the inquiry do you? Or any feedback at all? You can even say, yeah, Cynthia. There you are. Hello.
Hi there. I'm noticing that there is a lot of what I call peanut gallery happening.
Yeah.
Just lots of, just shouting. And my effort to stop it is like what we're doing the work on this morning.
Uh-huh.
Or it comes full circle. And so as I'm listening to the peanut gallery and telling myself to, come back to me, come back to being centered, come back to my breathing, right? It's okay. This is what's happening, and it's okay.
Isn't that just wonderful to touch that? Yeah. So sweet. Right now. Is it okay right now? Yeah, it's okay right now. Right now is okay. Yeah. I love that peanut gallery. It's just, I just picture this actual gallery, where everybody's got the peanuts, and we're all in, and they're throwing things, and it's great. Thank you.
And then to have that turn into a bunch of seats with actual peanuts sitting in the seats.
Oh,
That all the noise that is coming is actually from peanuts, just little peanuts that are just sitting there.
that is great. I love it.
And then it's like, oh, okay, it's just you guys, you peanuts.
Yeah. They're just being peanuts. Yeah.
And it's not, sometimes that's just what the thinking does.
Yes.
And it's okay.
It totally is, isn't it? It's just being peanuts. Anyone else want to share? Hi,
Hello,
Sharon.
Grace.
Hello, good to see you, my dear.
Hi. I'm glad I was able to join today.
Mm.
I love metaphors with nature, and so I found it helpful when you were talking about the idea of the arc of life, and that we accept things like a beautiful plant um, blooming, and then the next stage. So uh, I found that useful when I was thinking about a loved one today, and that those prompts had me thinking about my belief around how long a life should be, right? And it's just a belief, right? And
Right.
how do I know
Yeah.
about that? And it also was really helpful um, when we did that prompt about what if you let go of the belief that someone should. In my case, I was thinking that someone should be healthy,
Mm.
and I'm feeling grateful to you because I haven't been sitting down in the work for a little while, and my shoulders just fell right down, and I sighed, and it was like, oh, yeah, like, and it feels a bit corny to me because I know we have phrases that come up in the work, but it was absolutely a moment of like stopping that resistance and accepting what is. It was like, okay, so this is how it is, and there were some tears, right? But I just, I connected that there's sadness there, and there's grief, and that's what's present, and it felt good to let that be there. So thank you.
So sweet, really. So kind to the self to let it have the sadness and grief, and then see wherever that goes, and that it's all welcome. Yeah, that's beautiful. A sigh. Who would I be without the thought?
Yeah, it was just so instant
Yeah.
when you get offered that prompt. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Yeah. Thank you, Larry, and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful, everybody. So, off into your next moment with I love the living turnaround of just experiencing who would I be? What's here without my story, judgment, and even if thinking happens, all is well. But that's okay. And I hope you have a great doctor's appointment, Larry.
I'll let you know. Thank you.
All right. All right. Lots of love, my friends. See you next time. Bye-bye.